People with no degree, if you are making over $60,000 annually, how did you get there? Got a decent gig after high school, after working 7 years in a role with no career progression. Took a pay cut to break into a field that I knew I had an affinity for. Worked my ass off. Got certifications. Put in 80-hour weeks every few months to stay on top of projects. Naturally outgrew roles and chased new opportunities. Got lucky and ended up tripling my income from when I first took that pay cut. To be fair, I broke into the tech field, and a fair amount of luck is required, but you gotta grind and put in the work to put yourself in that position for better opportunities. Studied web design on my own in the 90s. Was recommended by a friend who knew my skills for an entry-level contractual government job starting at $36,000 in 1999. Left there in the mid-aughts making close to $80,000 for another opportunity running my ex-father-in-law's company. Total compensation is $175K today. When I graduated high school, I refused to be told that I had to get a degree to prove my abilities and worth. I made it happen through connections and hard work. Networking with people is generally going to be your best option at achieving better levels of success. I found anyway. I'm currently making $150,000 a year as a project manager for a retail company. I worked at an Apple store for like 3 years. Then I worked as a deployment analyst in IT for a retail company. After 3 months, the director of the IT department liked me so much he brought me on as a project coordinator. He taught me everything I knew for 3 years before I branched off on my own. I always tell people I got lucky that someone took a chance on me. My old director used to tell me that I'd always be successful wherever I go because I work hard and I care about the people I work with. Dealership parts manager. I sort of fell into it. I was a retail manager. Worked my way up with a large chain pet store, and the resume helped me move to a different company. A co-worker's husband was an assistant parts manager who needed a counter person. I talked to him, and he gave me a shot. I took to it very quickly, changed dealers, and have been at the same place for 21 years. I never wanted to be a parts manager. I was making $70 as a counterman. Former manager quit and they gave me the position. I really didn't want it, but the money was enticing. So here I am. I struggled as a mechanic for about a decade, with those last couple years finally reaching around $60,000 annual. Then transitioned to diesel fleet work starting at $68,000 and making $94,000 in 3 years. After about 5 years of that and lots of issues with poor management, I got out of cars altogether and got a job in the medical field repairing sterilizers and washer disinfectors. It was a pretty decent pay cut to start over, but I'm still comfortable at $77K a year. Most importantly, my call has gone through the roof with the flexibility of the new work. While I have a couple of degrees AAS, I graduated college in 2009, and there weren't jobs to be found in my field of study due to the recession. I worked at Target and whatnot for a couple of years but hated it, so I took $8.25 HR line guy job at my local airport in 2011 because my buddy managed the FBO and had an opening. I enjoy all the different back-end sides of aviation, so I stayed and started learning more whenever I'd get an opportunity. Now, I work for the airport authority and make about $75,000. Never wound up using my degree. $60K is attainable with so many jobs around the country with no degree. Emergency responders, law enforcement, manufacturing, trucking transit. I mean airports in general. Utilities linemen, and so on and so on. ENT away. I did not, and while I bounced around looking for similar income for a while, I eventually found the money in adjacent industries where my experience still mattered and was all the more unique. Air traffic control. I have most of an aviation bachelor's degree, instrument commercial pilot certificate, but I ran out of money. Still in a lot of student loan debt, but making over $100K at a level 12 facility. All we require is work experience, and training is all paid in-house. That said, it's a tough job, and the pass rate is low as not everyone can do the job. If you can, then it's the best job in the world. Check user jobs if you're interested, because we have a bid coming up very soon. I can always answer questions. I work in enterprise telecom. I didn't start in enterprise level, but got here eventually. I worked for a local carrier for a long time and learned all the ins and outs. I moved on when my current opportunity came up. I guess the moral is, more often than not, you can work for a company and use the skills and training you get from them to progress your career. I have not been to any type of college and don't have a big plan to. I'm considered in the skilled labor sector, and that is a huge market today. Six-figure club, design specialist to custom home builders. I've worked construction most of my life. Learned all parts of the business, jack of all trades. Builders started coming to me for custom home design upgrades. Now I'm involved with hundreds of different companies sourcing everything from tile, plumbing, appliances, electrical, lighting, and now even furniture and fully furnished properties. I'm a one-stop shop for customizing your home. Best part is ... I don't have to do the labor anymore. My mum's earning close to 9K without a degree at the moment. She's got about 25 years of experience working as a PA for various places, so there's that. She has a certificate in information systems from like 1990 or something, though I've got a master's, and I'm earning just a little more than her. But the difference is, she's reached her peak salary, whereas I've been working in my field for roughly 3 years, and my pay ceiling is closer to 18K depending on how I progress and what I want to do. Working hard, keeping my job-specific knowledge up, climbed the IT support ladder into management. Have managed most infrastructure and operations teams in the last decade. This required blaming only me for setbacks, then doing something about it. More valuable to leadership than other people on my team, such as understanding what the organization's goals were and demonstrating how my efforts contributed towards them, and I was rewarded for it. Quit college, not due to grades, just followed my girlfriend across the country for her master's program. By the time we moved back, I had no interest in going back to school. Started a plumbing apprenticeship with the union in 2017. Jumped to now, and I'm making 130K a year working for someone else. I'm planning to go off on my own in the next 3-5 years, and will hopefully be pulling in double that. Trades are a great route to go, but take care of your body and work smart to avoid injury. Working hard, working harder, and whoops. Sorry. I misspelled lucky as fuck that I knew the right people. Obviously, a lot of work was involved, but I know I only had the opportunity because of people already in knowing and trusting me. That can be anyone. That guy you were a cashier with at McDonald's. He might well have a high-paying job elsewhere later and have some influence to get you an interview. Treat all your co-workers well at every job and be known for being reliable. I went into banking. I got robbed at the till. We got a security guard for a few days after who just chilled on his phone all day. I got into security. Now I make 78K. Why to chill on my phone all day? Armed security can pay as much as $100 an hour. More depending on circumstantial contracts like famous people and such. All 3 first response gigs start around $70,000 as well and require minimal entry qualifications. Being an ambulance driver probably the most license heavy. Firing up the throwaway, sex work. Started out organically. Was interested in finding an older man to date purely for preference rather than financial gain. Began seeing an older, very wealthy man. Our dates became more structured and transaction-like over the years. Been seeing each other for well over a decade now. We see each other twice a week for an hour. He funds my entire life and is leaving me an inheritance. I love him and he loves me. Life is funny. Work smarter and harder. I have a GED, went off to the army and took multiple many-year career gaps to live life. Now I'm a network engineer at one of the top places to work in the US. I learned it early on that being great at your job doesn't matter if no one knows. Learn how to be your own advocate. Ask questions. Learn other people's roles. Look for non-traditional ways to bring value to your role, and look for opportunities that force you to grow. Started sweeping the floors just out of high school at a plastic injection mold shop back in the 90s, and now I'm a CNC programmer and mold maker. Still at the same shop. Could be making more if I shop hopped, but I'm comfortable. I have a lot of benefits, perks and freedom that is not monetary, and I make quite a lot more than 60K. Good people. And a boss that was willing to take a chance on a troublemaking long-haired stoner back then. I owe him a lot. Been working at the same software company as support for 6 years now. Right before they sold it to another company, I demanded they take me from 43,000 to 50K and give me the promotion they'd been dangling over me. They obliged. And since acquisition, I've received another promotion, putting me around $65,000. Started at 38,000 in 2018. Last couple years I've been going to school online studying cybersecurity. So I'm riding this out till I'm ready to jump ship.